Hey folks, day 2 at Photokina, and now we're at the Tamron booth, and there's one lens that's actually out for sale but I've been meaning to check out. It's the new 15-30 G2. Now, I've been shooting and using the G1 since it first came out. I think actually at Photokina 2 years ago was the first time I got hands-on with that one. So in today's video we're going to take a look at them side by side, see what's changed, and show you a couple of sample images. Photokina is the world's biggest photo show. It's been held every 2 years since 1950 in Cologne, Germany. Hit subscribe to join us as we explore Photokina and bring you the best new gear of 2018 from the show floor. Thanks to B&H Photo for sponsoring these videos. You can see all the gear I've shown in this video and all their show specials at the links in the description below. So apparently it was 4 years ago that we got hands-on with the first one, not 2 years ago. Outwardly, not a whole lot has changed between them. The cap has lost the SP, the body has gained a new SP, but it has changed to the new finishing that you find on the 70-200, 150-600, and 24-70 G2s. The kind of nicer dark metal look to the body, better finishing overall. The sealing seems as good or better than the last one, just from an outward observance. Obviously, I haven't dumped them in a bucket of water. Focus and everything seems just as good. I'll be interested to see if the VC has improved. They say it's up a little bit, but let's look at them side by side and compare the specs of the two of them. So taking a look at the outside of the Generation 2, it's really quite similar to the G1, except for it's now got that G2 look about it. The finish is completely different, but it's the same basic features. It's actually almost exactly the same in terms of just numbers. 18 elements in 13 groups, 9 rounded aperture blades, closest focus of 28 centimeters. The new one is ever so slightly shorter but the same width, and it's 10% lighter than the last one, but it does actually have some new tech inside. The new guy has an expanded glass molded aspherical element and multiple low dispersion elements to reduce ghosting and distortion. And the new lens features dual microprocessing units that they say has much faster autofocus performance and precision than the previous generation. Now, only the Canon version has this, but there's an option to slip in filters at the back of the lens. There's enough space there, and they've put in a little holder that is permanently part of the lens. An interesting thing in the branding on this one, my G1 just has made in Japan on it. The new one has a big white designed in Japan and then a tiny little made in Japan off to the side. So I'm not sure why the designing in Japan became an issue to make that the more prominent factor in its origin. In any case, I can't say, having not taken it off the stand, whether it's really a huge improvement over the G1. But I can say the 70-200 and the 150-600 were both significant improvements in both handling and image quality over the first. The first ones that came out, I think actually deserve a lot of credit. It was before Sigma were doing too much. I think they'd just done their 35 Art, maybe was the only lens they brought out in this new range. And these were the first really high quality, really good value competition to the Canon and Nikon in like the last 5 or 6 years. So they came out, Sigma's been kicking ass, G2 has been coming out, and all the G2s I've tested have been great. So just did a couple of little tests here, can't do a whole lot here. Main thing I was interested in was how does the VC hold up. I've always found that the Tamron VC works really nicely. People, I think, still misunderstand exactly why you want VC. It's not just a super telephoto that will benefit from it. Yes, it, 1 or 2 stops of compensation on a long lens can make the difference between getting a shot sharp at all or completely blurry. But on any lens, even an ultra wide angle, it can make the difference between getting a shot almost perfectly sharp and perfectly sharp. And that is an important difference. So I was just doing some handheld test shots here of another one of my lenses, the 90mm macro, and I was getting a decent amount at 1/3 of a second sharp at 15 mil. Was it 15 or 30? 30 mil. and a couple at a half of a second. So if you assume the normal hand-holding rule of, say, a 30th or a 40th for that kind of a focal length, that's not a bad performance, I think. Although I'm still not going to go out and do that, to know that you can and get a little bit of, say, water movement if you were shooting babbling brook somewhere and you want to get the rock sharp, to be able to do it at, say, a quarter or a sixth of a second, have the rock sharp and the fast moving stream blur out, that's pretty handy. So look, as I said, this guy is already on sale. I think it's $1,300 in the US or $1,500 for some reason in Europe, even though you're paying euros instead of dollars. Check out the links below if you want to check that out. And please do leave us a comment for anything else you'd like to see. We have tomorrow here at the show as well. So if there's any booths you'd like us to stop by, leave us a comment and head on over to mattgranger.com/photokina, and you can see all of the videos we put out over the entire show. It's probably going to end up being over a dozen in total. Thanks, I'll see you soon.